Okay, we're recording. So I don't want to miss any of the good stuff.
No, I got you. Yeah, this week's has been work and you know life.
Yeah,
It happens though. It happens.
it does. I mean, that's the thing about the holidays. Everybody wants to start, these type of things like January 1st, right?
Yeah. No. No.
It makes a lot of sense because you're past all the kind of crazy end of the year stuff, holidays, Christmas parties, that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I do want to make a correction though, because I was thinking about what we were talking about last week and the whole Dana White fasting thing.
Yeah.
So he was also saying that he would put like electrolytes in his water
Okay.
to help with minerals and stuff that he would be lacking um, because of that.
Yeah.
And then also he would use a little bit of bone broth,
Okay.
like from like day 2 to day 3, if he
How
needs.
how would he use it?
So what I would do, he didn't really talk about how he used it. I would just pour it in a bowl, stick it in the microwave, and just down it. Yeah, real simple. Like, so it wasn't just water; it was water, some electrolytes, and a little bit of bone broth to just kind of get you over that hump, I guess.
Yeah, for what you were telling me, that had you definitely, like lost weight, for instance, but it's not all about just losing weight. So definitely, wasn't like you went backwards or anything stupid like that.
Right, right. No, and I mean, you feel great after you do something like that.
Okay. So our plan is then we're gonna do this 84 hour, 83 hour fast.
Yeah, something like that. It's like 4 days.
I'm gonna pull my calendar up while I'm sitting here looking at you just to make sure I got it. Because I go back to work on the third, right?
Okay.
That's just me. Your schedule is what it is, but maybe it's for the first. Maybe that's what we need to do is actually just line this up for the first.
We can do that.
Yeah, so like 3.5 days. You basically start like Thursday night, like go to bed Thursday night. That's the start.
Works for me.
And then 1, 2, 3, and then you wake up Monday.
And you're done.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's try it. Let's do that then. So the 28th, we're gonna start this very long fast.
So bad.
It's not so bad, but yeah, it's like, so that's a good time. Okay, cool. And that'll kick into carnivore month, which is January, all of January.
Yeah.
And that is, yeah, I've kind of halfway started that now. I'm trying to think, to have anything that wasn't meat yesterday other than my like water and electrolytes. No, I had just meat yesterday. So what I did yesterday is I had been hunting all week and I hadn't really
Yeah,
done
how'd that go?
it was all right. It was, we go out there, freeze our butts off, and sometimes see deer, sometimes don't. But we did
I've been
get,
there.
yeah, we got two of the total five that we could have gotten, or
Okay.
total five that I'm allowed to take at that property. So, we got meat in the freezer. It's actually up in the cooler right now. I'm letting it drain a little bit, get the blood out of it, so it's not as gamey.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, venison. I'll tell you what, venison for the protein count per pound is probably one of the best sources for protein, other than maybe like yellowfin tuna.
Well, I was gonna say
Tuna would probably be,
wild game is drastically better.
oh, it's insane. Yeah.
Do you have a piece? How quickly can you grab a piece of deer meat? Like right now?
Right now, yeah. I mean, no, I can't right now. I can't like go
Okay.
show it to you.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say we should compare how red and how deep. If for people, I mean, not just for us. I mean, obviously, I've been hunting before, and I know how the drastic color difference between a deer and beef.
And steak. Yeah,
It's insane.
it is. Yeah, especially when you go look at the what is the meat counter, and you got all the meats there on the ice or whatever. Most grocery stores have that still.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're kind of like it's not red. It's like almost a strawberry blonde kind of thing. They're not,
Sure. You almost can relate it to almost like a stop sign.
Yeah.
They're just bright, and then when you look at wild game, it's like a maroon.
Yeah. So like wild tuna, because I just bought some today, and there's little cutlets like this, little tuna
Mhm.
loin like that, and it is about as, I mean, not urban, burgundy as it can get. The deer venison that I've got now, so some of it's still on the bone, so I can't just grab that. There's a tenderloin, which is what goes on either side of your spine, or the deer
Backstrap.
spine. Yeah, backstrap. That one right there, it'll be about this big around and maybe something like this long, right? And that is absolutely as dark red. And it's almost brown. It's so red.
It's wild, the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. And it's such good stuff. And the thing about that too is it's not filled with fat. So all the weight of it, like I cooked a steak last night, so I did the numbers on it because I'm trying to stay. I sent you the calorie thing, the other day or whatever. That's just kind of the goal. It's just like this is how I'm going to try to reach it. And what was it? I'm trying to stay under 1800 or stay at 1800, like as close to as you can get, right? And then I looked at a steak yesterday and I'm going, okay, let's just do the numbers on this real quick. And it does it by every 4 ounce. Well, the steak was 1.12 pounds, which is right under a whisker under 18 ounces. Okay.
Right.
So when you run the numbers on that, all right, because it's a ribeye and not all the weight is meat, it's also got fat in it. It's got very high calorie count. So the calories checked in at just over 1,600 calories in this one steak. Now the protein count was up very high as well. It was 80 grams protein.
Okay.
Those are the only two numbers I'm looking at right now. I don't really care about any of the others. I know I'm not eating carbs, or there's so little it doesn't matter. So it's just literally how many calories, how much protein, and that's it. And then so like that and a protein shake. So I had my my metabolic whey protein that you get from GNC. Took a couple scoops of that, a couple eggs, raw eggs going into that, 16 ounces of milk. That turns up to be about 500 calories. I want to say 68 grams of protein.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I ate yesterday. So what I was getting at with the whole like pound for pound thing is like the ribeyes, it's a lot of food. Like I was probably four-fifths of the way through the steak and I'm going, oh my, I don't know if I can make it, made it obviously, but still it's a lot of food, it's one sitting, it's a lot of food. But when you eat once a day,
it's not so bad.
Yeah. So that's my plan right now. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, 1,800 calories, I think. That's put me 500 under what the DEXA Life people say I should be doing for a normal kind of day, just matching expenditures. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just staying stagnant.
Yeah. I saw you did some golf the other day.
Yeah.
That was
golfing's fun.
Yeah. So you did a lot
golfing's fun.
Swinging, huh?
Yeah, golfing's fun, man. Have you ever been golfing?
When I was young, we're talking 25 years ago, I worked at a golf course. I was a groundskeeper, so I mowed the greens, with that crisscross thing, and I filled in all the divots from you guys whacking. But I haven't golfed.
Yeah, I try and go like once a week. I try and go on Tuesdays because I'm already in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And the guy I go with, there's an air base. I think it's still an active air base, but there's an Air Force base out there, and they have a golf course. And apparently, it used to be really nice because the COs and the all the officers would make sure, because they'd all go play out there and they'd make sure it was just amazing. And now it's just rough and it's gone down and all the barracks are gone. And
yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know that Jacksonville shut down. I guess they have. I don't know.
They have a few air bases over. They have a few Air Force bases over there. I don't think the Air Force base itself has shut down, but the officers aren't attending to the golf course as I guess they once did.
Maybe they put a golf course on the base, which is that kind of stuff. So maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. But it's something fun to do. It gets you out of the house and.
Yeah, I might go to a driving range. My father-in-law is really into golf.
You should just go, and I mean, just know that you are going to be chasing balls all over the place.
Yeah, I don't like doing that. I'm not a ball chaser.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Maybe just go to
Top golf.
Maybe go to Top Golf. Yeah,
I can knock them straight, but when you go play golf, it's a different thing. For whatever reason, it's just a different.
I don't need another expensive hobby.
It's really not that bad. I mean, I got the golf clubs I got came from my dad, so I didn't have to buy any. And it's like $15 to go out there and play 9 holes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that. I mean, obviously, if you go out and buy, I mean, if you're losing balls every day,
yeah,
it can get a little pricey.
Yeah, that can get a little pricey.
I just get, the balls I could get in my race tires, they're all used. I just use fake offs, man.
When I was playing the course or doing the course and stuff like I did a couple summers there. So definitely I had a stack of, golf balls that people just lost in the woods or whatever they didn't pick up. I just see them
Yeah.
out there. I actually remember this one time I was mowing sort of on one fairway, they all go against each other like that. And I didn't notice it, but it like sort of bounced into the fairway and I'm just driving around, doing my thing and I saw it and I was like, oh, it's just there in the middle of the fairway. So I went over there and I grabbed it and ran off. And just as I did that, I noticed the people on the other side started walking over and I went, oh, snap, just drove off, because I think I took the guy's, he crossed it over. What is it? Slicing? He sliced it over.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I ran off with his golf ball.
Oh well, he'll be all
Middle of
right.
his play. Oh, well, he'll drop one. It'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll probably out of bounds anyway.
Yeah. Way out of bounds.
Yeah.
I brought down some supplements that I thought might be interesting. You talked
Okay.
about electrolytes. I use some electrolytes. I don't know if you can read that. It says electrolyte stick, STIX, because
Which is probably
packages. Yeah, something. It was just like that.
yeah.
But I get these from Myoscience. They've got what I like about it, the fact it has real. It's called Real Salt. Red's Real Salt's a brand, but like real salt, magnesium, potassium, and creatine monohydrate. And creatine monohydrate is one of those things that people get scared of, but I think it's very important to be supplementing kind of constantly. So it makes
I've
it
got creatine.
okay. Yeah, I would. Don't be scared of that. Like especially like a lot of people think that you take in creatine, and then if you work out, you're just going to balloon up. You're just going to blimp up. You're not going to. You're not taking. Promise you, you're not lifting enough. None of us are lifting enough. We're not on steroids.
Or taking enough creatine for it to matter.
Yeah, you've got to take kind of a healthy chunk.
I mean, it's a little. I mean, we're talking a little scoop.
Yeah, like so. I think that scoop, what's in there, 2.6 grams. I want to say is kind of like a couple steaks, like maybe 2 pounds of
Not
rib.
enough to even matter.
Yeah, but it's good because it does, it reuses ATP. And ATP is your energy source for when you're working out. So if you're in the middle of a workout and you go and then gas like that,
Right.
It doesn't let that happen. So it lets you kind of just nose over like that. So it recycles ATP while you're working out. So you can do a 40-minute session a lot easier than before.
Right.
So that's really the main thing behind it. And also testosterone. A lot of people today are very low in testosterone. I haven't spent a while since I checked my numbers. I was on the low end of normal about 4 years ago, I think. But I mean, that's even for average, males in their 30s. There's like this level, right, where they want you to be, and I was sort of here. I don't know, scales like this, right? I'm like down here. Another buddy of mine checked his, or he checked his. He's just my age, and he was just at the bottom of the chart. And I'm going, dang, man, what's up with that? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm not doing anything weird. He's outdoorsman, all the kind of things. He's not, I don't know. He's not a soy boy. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But he was just really low, and that's something, if you look into a lot of the stuff that's been going on in the world recently, what we're eating, testosterone's been kind of dropping. And so that's kind of important for men, especially when you're working out, especially as you get older. So I take DHEA.
Okay.
DHEA, dihydro, I can't pronounce it, but it's a thing. So, but I take DHEA. You're supposed to take basically 1 milligram per year of your age. Okay. So I take a 25 mil in the evening, and then I split again. I basically take 3/4 of one in the morning, and that puts me just over, and that's fine. But anyway, that's kind of how I supplement that. So if you're not doing that, you'll notice that you'll have a little bit more energy. You'll be waking up ready to go, that type of thing. It's not like at first you'll have a much noticeable difference than maybe later on, like after 6 months of using it. But it's definitely something that I think every man should be looking at that and supplementing that. It's not a bad thing to have a little bit more testosterone. And so let's back up. So DHEA is not testosterone, right? Like you don't take it in and now it's just raging around your body.
Right.
DHEA supports the adrenal gland, and the adrenal gland is what makes and
produces testosterone.
Yes. So it's supporting the thing that does the
work.
The traffic warden, basically the traffic coordinator for your testosterone and hormones.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's something that whoever talk to anybody about working out, I'm always like, what are you doing to support your testosterone? Talking to men. And a lot of times it's just nothing. Another one with that is zinc. So just take,
Uh-huh.
this is 20 milligrams of zinc, again, from Bioscience. Taking that every night. That's like it's like taking multivitamin, right?
Right.
Every single night. There's no kind of stoppage with that. DHEA, they've talked about, long-term effects, and you probably shouldn't take it for longer than some kind of few years. And then you should do this kind of cycle off and then come back onto it and things like that. But again, if you think about it, like I'm not taking D-bol, which is like a full-on
Right.
testosterone supplement, it's a support for the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland is what does the work. So yeah, it's like eating protein to help your muscles grow. You don't actually grow your muscles unless you stress them. So
Correct.
protein supports that. But anyway, those are just some things that I wanted to mention before we go too far down this road. Because if you're doing a lot of the right things, you're going to have a pretty decent testosterone
Result. Right.
Yeah, but you can never have, and you can have too much, but we won't be doing the things that would cause that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, just something to think about.
Now with the zinc, I heard that zinc, it's difficult for the body to absorb zinc.
Yeah,
And so you need to take this thing called K2
yep,
that aids the body in absorbing ink
yeah.
or
So
zinc.
K2 comes from green leafy vegetables,
Right.
broccoli, kale, things like that. You can also supplement K2, and this company Myoscience has that in there as well. I didn't bring it down with me. I have a little vial of vitamin D3 plus K2,
Mhm.
and
What
that
I
all
have.
together happens. And I actually take D3 and K2 at the same time as I take my zinc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it helps.
So vitamin D is a big one. Like as far as the world population goes, the world is very low on vitamin D. First world countries more than the others because first world countries have that problem of being indoors too much. So K2 or vitamin K basically gets converted to vitamin D when you're in the sunlight.
Okay.
So your body actually is working. That's why sometimes you'd be out in the sun and not really doing anything. You come back in and you go, man, I'm tired. That's because your body's been converting all of this
Right.
vitamin K into vitamin D, which you need. So that's a good point to bring up that.
And I've also heard that they've actually found out that vitamin D is actually a hormone and not so much a vitamin.
I don't know. I haven't heard that myself. I I don't think you're incorrect in that, but it's not something I've come across.
Right. That's why we can get it from the sun.
Yeah, yeah, in the conversion process,
Right. It turns
that can
into a
happen.
hormone
Yeah, that
versus
makes
a
sense.
vitamin
Right,
in the sense of
and then
vitamin.
so always we're trying to get the most natural source of things. So the best way, whatever. I do air quotes because there's so many people who say, well, this is the
Right.
way and that's the way, and it's just I don't know. Find what works for you and go with that.
Pretty much just lay out in the sun.
I mean, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of Instagram pages that are proponents of what is it, genital sunning? Like that's a thing, and I'm going, y'all are just weird. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe like 1,000 years ago, because we were running around in loincloths. That makes even 1,000 years ago is too soon. I mean, maybe 4,000
Tens of
years
thousands.
ago.
Right.
Yeah, we were still hunting with spears and junk. Maybe that makes sense. But dang, man, just why do we have
Yeah.
to come up with all these weird things to do? Why can't we just sort of live life?
Because life's too easy.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, they're all like, yeah, first thing I do every morning is I get up and I, whatever, jump in a cold shower and then I do my breathing exercise and then I go spread my legs for the sun. I'm like, what life do you live in? I'm at work by the time the
But
sun is up. What am
where
I
do
supposed?
you live where that is acceptable?
Yeah, and that's too. Yeah, so like your neighbors are going, hey, what's good morning? What's up with you? And so I don't know, man.
I saw you yesterday.
Yeah, I saw you out there yesterday, and you're like, yeah, you're totally cool about it. Weird, bro. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of weird things out there, but I do believe in the supplements. I think supplementing does help. But
I
then
think
also
it's important.
it's very important, and then there's that whole thing about don't skip leg day, right? So that in the male anatomy, when you work your legs, you're working the largest group of muscles. And what literally happens is that the testosterone that's locked up in your muscle fibers that are all in those little fibers all connecting a bunch of little cables, they get secreted or squeezed like that, like you're squeezing a sponge. and it just comes out in your bloodstream. So you definitely you're more virile after leg day, okay?
Right.
Because it's literally just shoving all that into
Right.
your blood system and circulating, doing all that type of thing. So not skipping leg day isn't just for, make sure you have small legs. It's for everything else. Like you can, yeah, those bodybuilders, were famous for like that. Who is it? Platts. I can't remember. His name is Platts. I know his last name is Platts. Back in the mid '80s, early '90s, Mr. Olympia type guy. But he was famous for talking about squats and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, "Yeah, you do
They're
squats twice a
important.
week." Yeah, squats are huge, man. But then, of course, he was also had different goals than we do. So,
Yeah,
speaking of
that is for
goals,
sure.
this week, today is Christmas Eve. Obviously, we are going to have Christmas tomorrow. There's probably going to be some eggnog and some Christmas cookies and other things like that that are going to get apprehended by my mouth for sure. Um,
Apprehended.
I'm looking at my calendar here. That's why I'm looking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'm like, okay, so I'm like right after this, I'm gonna do a workout, a quick little CrossFit EMOM or not, what is it? Every minute on the minute? No, it's a 12-minute thing. I can't think.
Okay.
It's doing wall balls and then rowing. So anyway, it's a quick burner, and then kind of I'm gonna just relax for the rest of the day, and then Christmas we'll just see how if I can get something in, maybe I will. But I got kind of my family, I got to make sure I'm not just being
Of
selfish
course.
about it. But yeah, throughout the next, like from the 26th, next Tuesday, all the way to that Saturday, because I want to try to take a rest on Sunday, which I think is important. What do you want to do? You want to start like really getting into the weights thing? Because
Yeah,
that's,
I mean that's pretty much all I pretty much focus on. I'll do a quick some quick cardio, and then I just hit weights. That's
yeah, yeah, that's good. I was looking at the Whoop, the strength trainer. I don't know if I send you my workouts or not, but I have,
I don't know, but one thing I've noticed is they have that plan section.
yeah, yeah. So I'm on the strain plan right now, and it makes you
Oh,
track
okay.
your protein, and it gives you coaching. Like today, it told me, all right, our average strain we wanted for the week was in the 17s. I'm
Okay.
going, bro, 17s for an average? That's like if y'all don't know Whoop, I'm going to speak to the audience. Like a few times we're gonna do that. If you don't know what Whoop is, basically it's an app and it has this thing called Strain. Yeah, you wear it on your wrist and it tracks a lot of different things through that tracking whatever infrared deal that's on your wrist. But it has a strain, and strain is just simply how much exerted you are in a day. 21 being perfectly exerted. Okay, the max. It is physically impossible to go beyond 21 according to Whoop. I've seen people do it on the little community things, but it's so rare, it's hard to do. So 17 is very hard to do. I think I've hit 18 or so a few times. Definitely had a 19 during like a race weekend, but 17 on average, that's a lot. It's basically like you're running 3 miles plus a weight workout plus like a CrossFit thing in one day. And then you
Right.
do that for 5 days straight. That's exhausting just to think about.
It is. And when I was dabbling in jujitsu,
Hmm.
I would, I mean, the strain and the calorie burns were just ridiculous.
Dude, I saw some of your stuff. I'm going like, oh my gosh.
For like for like an hour and a half worth of work.
Yeah, you're just tumbling around with other
You're just
people.
trying not to die. Is all you're trying to do.
Yeah, man, I don't know if I have time for it. That's the problem. I would love to get in it.
Yeah. I
Jiu-jitsu
mean
is awesome, but
it's definitely time consuming. I stopped doing it.
yeah.
Um again, it's one of those if I don't do it every day.
Yeah, that's hard. I was trying to explain something to my wife about this. Like we touched on it last week, but like how you shouldn't give crackheads a hit every week just to
Right.
it's moderation. It doesn't really work that way. So we have to look at these foods. That's why I don't really like holidays because it's just like, oh, good, here's all the stuff that I can't eat. But if I eat it, I feel immense guilt because I'm sitting there going, oh, good, it's going to take me 2 months to get rid of this problem that I just ate. And that's what it feels on 2 months, but
Well,
certainly,
that's where fasting comes in though.
yeah. And I think that as far as how we move forward, fasting is going to be a huge part of what we're doing. And it might even be something where like, hey, every week we do like a 36-hour fast.
I'm down.
Yeah, and then maybe once a month do an 80, say 84, whatever, 3.5, 2.5 day thing, two, 3.5 day.
Works for me. I have an
Yeah.
app where I can let me find it, where I can track all that stuff. It's called Zero.
Okay.
And
Okay.
just start fast and it just kind of,
It counts it down and
yeah, it counts up or down. And then it'll
okay.
also tell you like what's going on. So right now it's anabolic.
Oh, it tells you where you're at.
Tells you where you
But,
are. Yeah.
okay. Okay. That's interesting. I might get that
Yeah.
just to
It's
help
free.
out.
Free's great.
Well, fasting's free too. So
Right. But this app is free and
yeah.
it tells you like I mean there's a Zero Plus that you can
Oh, sure.
subscribe
Yeah,
to,
they got to
but
get money. They got to get money somehow.
I
But
just
yeah,
need to
that
try.
that might just be our answer. I was thinking back, a couple years ago when I started getting more serious about being in shape for racing, because ultimately that's part of one of my goals is being in shape for
Me
racing.
too.
Yeah, I remember I would do intermittent fasting, semi not on purpose, where I basically wouldn't eat until noon. I'd bring my breakfast with me, but I wouldn't eat it because I was a production manager back then. So I was kind of busy. I'd get in the office and just immediately start working and just get hyper
Right.
focused and then just forget about that until lunch. And then I was like, oh, I got to eat, and I'd eat sort of bacon and eggs, whatever I brought with me. And then I get home around 5. So by the time 6 o'clock rolled around, I think at that point, pretty much I had eaten. So I had a 6 hour fasting window or whatever feeding window and did that for weeks on end. And it was really, really good. But you don't get there until you're satiated. So it's all that front end hurt that happens.
It's up here.
Right.
It's all up here.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, gosh, dude, I was losing weight quick,
Yeah.
really quick. So,
And sometimes you still feel hungry. You just have to go, too bad.
yeah, it's like 30 minutes and it goes away. So I think the important thing, for us is just make sure we maintain, okay, cool. At the very least, carnivore, hyper low carbs, and then try to get a 36-hour in there, which kind of can be something like Friday night through Saturday, Sunday morning
Yeah.
break fast.
Right. And that's what breakfasts were originally. They were designed to break a fast
Yep.
every day. Like people would fast every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your breakfast was the thing that broke your fast. That's
It's
why
funny.
it's called, like you said, breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, literally spell it out. It's break fast.
Right. It's literally spelled out break
Yeah.
fast.
It's funny. Some of the influencers on Instagram, they're hilarious. I love watching them. They'll go on like fasting. You're just starving yourself, and those are the haters, right? And you're looking at them going like, yeah, but no one was meant to eat 6 times a day either.
Right.
That's
We're not meant to graze all day long.
yeah. I don't know where that came from, but
Yeah, I don't either. And like when my grandparents were around and and they're on,
yep.
they ate bacon and eggs in the morning. Like they ate what would be considered unhealthy today, but they were small people. So the portions were obviously smaller
Yep.
and they fasted every day,
Yeah.
mainly because they probably had to.
I mean, yeah, when you think about like, so if you look at economics, like I'm going to school, as a lot of people may know or might not know, I'm going to school, and in economics, macroeconomics, they determine a country's wealth by its literal calorie availability per individual. So your literal ability to consume some kind of amount of calories, right? So a low poverty country would have a very low calorie intake per person, like 800
Makes
calories
sense,
per person. Yeah, and so like in the U.S., we're rolling around at like 25,000 calories per person. That's
which
the
is a ton of food.
yeah, yeah. So our access, so it's you want to get really really cross-eyed. So people are only in poverty today and only starving today for political reasons because we've got enough food. We've got enough food in the world. We can easily crush this, but we just don't. But
Yeah.
that's
Well,
another. It's
that's
another.
another subject
That's
for
another.
another day.
So yeah, we gotta not live, like we have 25,000 calories to eat today. We gotta.
I couldn't imagine eating 25,000 calories in a day.
No, I mean, obviously some people do it, but gosh, I mean, just think about. I was going over in my head. I'm like, I used to eat these steaks, and these 1.8 1 pound steaks, and then I would throw some sour cream on the side with some cheese. Nothing wrong with any of that, but your calorie count starts to go up. And I used to not really give a whole lot about calories because I thought, man, that's a bunch of crap. It doesn't work that way, you know. How does an oak log have calories? Because they just burn it. You know, that's a literal metric of calories is how much
Right.
you give off. Well, and I was getting frustrated, not losing weight, but I'm doing carnivore, I'm eating only animal based. I'm taking in like 25,000 or 2,500 calories, 3,000, yeah, 3,000 calories, and my basal metabolic rate is chilling at like 22. So I'm taking in 800 more calories, and there's a
Then you
point
need.
where, yeah, you're taking in too much energy. Your body is, you know, I wasn't gaining weight, but I wasn't getting anywhere. I I have to be in a deficit. And then you start looking at actually how much food that is. It's very little. Not very little. It's not a lot. It's not as much as you were taking in.
Right, right. It's not 15 cheeseburgers and it's a steak, some sour cream,
And
you
that's
know.
it. Once a day. That's it.
Right,
A
right.
big a
And
big
that's probably what our ancestors ate, was just once a day, and they just fasted the rest. And it could
yeah.
have been due to lack of food. They didn't have refrigerators. They
Yeah.
didn't have freezers. They didn't have, they didn't understand salt would help preserve foods and stuff like that. So they whatever they killed, they then ate.
Yeah, definitely.
And they may not have killed anything else for another 2 or 3 days.
Well, look at lions. Any other type of carnivore. They literally eat once every, couple times a week, maybe. You know, they kill something, they gorge themselves,
Right. And then
and
they're
then
good.
they do the fat, what
And they
is
sleep it off.
yeah, they just have the food
They're
coma.
just fat and happy, right? The itis sets in.
Right. So they're like obviously and they have enough energy 3 days later to go kill the next thing.
Repeat the whole thing all over again.
Right. So I don't know that we necessarily need to do that, but definitely
But
we should.
right, but the process is still the same. Like we as at least here in the States, we as people eat too much food
Yeah.
too often.
Yeah, the convenience thing, man, that access to food just makes it hard.
Drive up to the gas station, you can get yourself some potato chips and a soda and popcorn and beef
Just
jerky and
anything, man.
yeah, yeah. They even have like pizzas in gas stations now.
Yeah.
Like in the warmer, already made.
Yeah.
You don't have to order Domino's and wait for a half an hour. You just drive up to the gas station. There's a pepperoni pizza sitting there.
Yeah, it's funny. I think about some of the folks who maybe don't struggle with their weight but can go do all that and they're like, yeah, I just don't eat as much. And I'm wondering, I'm like, I bet you they don't actually eat that much less. I think that there's
But their
something.
metabolism's just firing though.
Maybe it's that. Maybe their body just literally dumps it. It just doesn't process it
Right.
or something, you know.
I have
And
a friend of mine. She stays here with me. She's been with us for like 5 years, but she doesn't eat much and she doesn't eat often. But what she does eat is just junk.
yeah,
And she's this big around.
blows your mind, doesn't it?
And I'm just like, how do you do this? There's 3 tubs of ice cream in the freezer. I haven't touched any of them. And somehow,
Somehow,
well, Murphy, Joe Murphy.
do I?
Yeah, he'd go racing with us.
Maybe I do if I saw his face. I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah,
He
but anyway,
he knows her, and he's like, yeah, man, she's tiny. I mean, she's tiny. Then she'll come and jump on the scale. She's like, I lost 3 pounds. I'm like, where?
that's it's just weird. And people like that. My
she's like
brother,
she's like 5 foot, $120,
yeah,
and just eats junk.
my brother, he doesn't eat junk, but he does not have my genetics. He
Right.
absolutely is. Now I'm sure he could if he stuffed enough ice cream in his face, gain weight.
Right.
But he doesn't sort of have to pay attention like anybody that I know has to pay attention. Certainly not like me. And I'm definitely like, doggone it, man. You really frustrate me with that.
Yeah, they're just shoving everything in their face, and they jump on the scale and they lose weight.
Yeah,
You're
that's
like,
frustrating. Well, that's not us, so we can't focus on other people's ease.
right, but
ease
it
in
is. It's just interesting how everybody's body processes stuff different. I mean, you have gluten allergies, you have peanut allergies, and I mean, everyone's a little different, but
Sure.
it is interesting how. So, like my dad, you've met my dad. He's 6'1", a buck 60.
Yep.
When he graduated high school, he was 100 pounds. He ran track. Now again, they
So
didn't have a lot. Yeah. They didn't have a lot, growing up and stuff, and so it wasn't like he could just gorge himself. You know what I mean? So they had to be very particular about when they ate and what they ate.
Yep.
And then my grandfather on my mom's side of the family, he was in the Navy, but he was a heftier dude. It's just interesting how you get two different people make children and either it passes on or it doesn't. It's bizarre.
It's crazy,
man. It's so strange.
Yeah, and I'm sure you know this, but those are the folks the ones who've never had a problem with it, who tend to have the most to say about what you need to be doing.
100%. Like, well, you just don't eat as much. Like, yeah, I'm not eating a lot.
Do what I do.
I am doing what you're doing. Like, that's part of the problem.
That's part of the problem, yeah. So this next week we gotta get into some weights, I think.
I'm down. I'll probably tackle some tonight before I gotta go to work, and then I'm probably getting off early. I'm gonna try and went to church this morning and stuff, but I enjoy like a midnight service for Christmas for some reason. It's just what I've always been around.
Yep.
So I may throw on I may go to the gym and throw on like a Catholic mass or something, because they're normally live streaming that stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, but definitely, if I was you this week, because it's gonna hurt getting back into weights.
Yeah.
I've
been lifting weights since high school.
You know what it is. I'm not describing anything new to you.
Mentally, it's difficult. Physically, it's just like, suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah, I hate the like, after having not worked out, it's the first couple of days after the break-in, if you will.
That break-in soreness.
Gosh, I hate that. It's so bad. But once you get past it, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool, man. So weights this week. I think next week we'll get into some zones, heart rate zones. We'll talk about that.
Right.
Yeah, we'll start figuring out how we can better do that, because we talked about zone 2 last time, but there's other stuff at the higher end of the echelon that you still have to do. But
it's difficult to get there without cardio.
Yep. So that's a whole nother conversation. We'll get into it. But all right, man. Well, it's good hearing from you.
You too, Aaron. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, sir.
Yes, sir. We will, I think.
Give the family all of our love from down here where it's, I don't know, 70 degrees.
I don't even want to hear about that.
It's like 70 and kind of dreary, but let's see. What's the temperature down here since we're...
It's not bad here.
Okay, it's 66.
Oh, no, it's in the 60s.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's so cold.
Yeah, I don't even know.
We have to throw a jacket on.
Yeah, you might have to shut up. I don't want to hear about that right now. All right, man. We got to go. Zoom is saying bye-bye. So
cool.
Bye-bye.
All right, Aaron. I'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
All right, bye.